much for having us. We're super excited to talk to you. I just want to start off with focusing on the core of what you're doing, Dunya Foundation. So can you just explain to our viewers what the Dunya Foundation is and how it operates?
Thank you so much for having me today, Mikhail. My name is Muhammad Jahanzaib. I work as the head of programs for Dunya Foundation. The foundation is a private sector non-profit organization. We are part of the Punjab group. We are not famously known as part of the Punjab group of colleges, but the group itself is the Punjab group. We work in the areas of renewable energy, agriculture, media, etc. The foundation started back in August 1985. The goal was to provide support to individuals, to the deserving members of the society who to educate their children and to provide other social services to marginalized communities. Based on our past experiences in Pakistan, and specifically in the rural areas of Kasur and Sargodha, we have seen that conditional cash transfers or unconditional cash transfers, they do not work as well as they are hoped for. Yes, they say they do help out a family within an hour of the need and bring them out of the poverty line for that specific month, but we do not believe it to be a sustainable solution. So what we have come up with is a project called the Kasur Mawakhat Program, which started back in 2014. It's a holistic community development approach which starts from community organization and mobilization, and then work towards advocacy awareness, and eventually culminating into the point where we combine different individuals into groups. We organize them, and then we provide them with technical assistance. We provide them training. We connect them with different parts of the industry, from initially starting, since we're primarily involved in agriculture, starting from soil sampling training, how to farm, and then eventually connecting them with service providers, both for buying their inputs and then selling their outputs. So this is we are currently working with 2,000 families, which translates to 2,000 loanees. In the past 8 years since 2014, we have a loan portfolio of 403 million as of today, with 100% recovery.
In terms of the Dunya Foundation and the investment philosophy, what exactly has the chairman of the Punjab group told you of how he wants to operate, and what is the ethos of divesting those investments as well? So firstly, like, how do you decide what to invest in, and then secondly, how do you actually make that investment?
Our vision is economic development of those rural communities. We are working in 8 villages, and our goal is to achieve zero individual. There are no individuals below poverty. That is our basic fundamental goal. There, as of today, there are about the 3% of the population is below poverty line after 8 years of work, and it has come down from around 30 to 40%. We do not have the exact numbers because no baseline was established, but those are the numbers currently. Now, how do we invest? Uh, we did a holistic baseline survey of the villages we work in, and we identified the key crops that the individuals are working in, that most of the farmers are associated with. We developed specific training programs, and we developed linkages with agriculture department, agriculture extension department, and other corporate sector players which are involved within the agriculture value chain. We have ensured supply of those inputs to our farmers, and after significant training and through different initiatives like solar panels for to reduce their costs, most of our farm, about out of 2,000, around 1,100 of our farmers have achieved 20, somewhere between 20 to 30% cost reduction on average. This has also come in addition to a yield increase. For two crops of rice and wheat, we have achieved an on average 11% increase in yields over the past 8 years.
In terms of the risk exposure, right? Like, microfinance has become a big thing in the world, but this is still a very specific thing with, such a higher poverty line in the country. So how do you manage your risk because you have no collateral? How do you look at, the community aspect of, what microfinancing has been doing in the country for the past few years? And how do you see this progressing as a model for you to have a very, very high retention rate in terms of your capital?
So the basic principle is quite simple, and it has been used all around the world. The philosophy comes from, I think, Bangladesh. We group them together and we give out the loan, so that if someone defaults, then there's a risk of defaulting for the whole group. However, this approach is not as simple in practice. What we do is over the past several years of our experience has taught us that working in rural communities requires you to be ingrained within them. We have a holistic understanding of an entire village when we work in. When we start out, we meet everyone. We understand who does what within the village, what is the number of population, how do they access education, how do they access health. We map out different public services and we identify how we can fill in those gaps. So for example, we have a school which serves those 18 villages, children of those 18 villages. It provides free of cost education. We provide uniforms as well as textbooks, etc. Then we realize there's a lack of public access to health facilities. The nearest basic health unit is 5 kilometers away, and imagine when there are no paved roads, then access to health becomes a huge issue. Every week we hold a medical camp where we provide free of cost medicines, and we fund the treatment of a lot of individuals from those areas which cannot be covered under health card. So through these initiatives where we have identified the gaps where we plug in, and because of that we have developed a trust with the village, with those communities that we work in. And based on the trust, what we realize is we identify each individual's ability. Whenever a loan application comes in, we are already aware of the family structure of that family from where the person is applied for a loan. We understand what the level of education is, what their past experience has been, who they have worked with. So through this holistic approach of developing an entire information database of how a village operates, we are able to reduce our risk to the point where we have 100% return.
In terms of a lack of collateral at your end, right? You do have to mask out what is the longevity of the loan that you're giving out. So how do you guys map that out internally, and decide how to give out the capital that you're deploying?
For agriculture, within we are able to recoup our investment from 6 months to a year. For bigger projects such as solar panels, tractors, and now we are moving into more sophisticated agricultural machinery, the return is within 2 years. What the foundation does is we every year we complement the pool that we have a pool of funds that we have available to loan out through the donation from the Punjab.
So for the Dunya Foundation, do you actually have partners on board? And for those partners, how do you get them on board? What are the incentives aligned for them? And how do you actually make those conversations come to light?
All right. So, in the past 3 years, we have tried to partner with multiple organizations. When we talk about multinational corporations, they have a very keen focus on the social responsibility aspect, where they want to produce stories from the field, which come as a result of the art interventions. One of the things that the foundation has done in the past is not to showcase or not to tokenize these stories, but we also want to share the knowledge that we have. When it comes to business groups, within local business groups, we have had significant results. Whenever we have approached someone with a goal of sharing what we have done to be replicated into their villages or to gain their services, we have had a very positive response. Specifically within the corporate players which are working with the agriculture value chain.
So these partners, are they only doing it for this CSR angle? That is great advertisement for them hypothetically, or they really want to do it because they're amazing human beings and amazing organizations, or is there actually an economic incentive tied for them in this as well?
When one of the reasons of our success, and this is something I come back to again and again, is we collect data extensively and we iterate the process through and improve it. Whenever a business group wants to work with us, we show them the numbers, and at the end of the day, it's the bottom line for them which helps us do this. And this is the way we want to do it as well. When it comes to the sustainability part, one of the questions that we have started to ask ourselves is how much more we need to work in the community so that we are no longer needed, we are no longer required, because we have to develop or integrate the sustainability within the system. So these corporations or these business groups want to work with us because it helps develop their business and not just it's a social responsibility.
Is there a vision for your organization to reduce the carbon footprint, and how have you seen that pan out in the days and years to come?
We started off by educating farmers on not burning the crops. So we have ourselves invested in a single machine which helps them remove crop residue. So okay, so that's the first thing. Now within those villages, no one burns their crops, and we rent it out for free. In the beginning, that's what we're doing. But what we're trying to show these farmers is that once they are able to collect all the residue, they can sell it for the more than the price of the renting the machine. Number one. Number two, what we have done is we have trained our farmers on a better water usage so that there's not a lot of water waste. A, it conserves water, and B, it conserves fuel, which is used to run the tubes. Number three, solar panels have significantly reduced carbon cost because now we are not burning again diesel, which is the single most important thing, and the biggest cost that was. Now it is not. Now it's fertilizer. But it used to be the biggest cost. It has come down significantly. We have not done a formal study on reducing the carbon footprint, but through these small steps, we have significantly reduced those practices. And now more and more farmers are adopting those practices even outside our villages.
I think we can't deny that Pakistan's gone through intense flooding. We're one of the most climate impacted countries in the world. So, as part of the foundation, you are investing in agriculture. We do have to have this angle where we're focusing on climate mitigation, and as part of climate mitigation, we need to focus on climate resiliency, and that's probably going to impact agriculture the most as an industry, as an economic subset. So, how are you, as the foundation's head, focusing on that angle?
All right. So one of the key steps we're doing is we have now started developing individual crop plans with farmers. So based on the data that is available of temperature, etc., what we're doing is we're working with the different farmers to see what kind of crops are appropriate for their land and will be more resilient to the climate change. So temperatures are increasing and water within our areas is the underground water table is going further below. So we're trying to see is what kind of crops we can cultivate without stressing too much, and these crops should be resilient to different kind of climate change. Or so for example, there has been flooding recently, so any other kind of natural disasters. We are also working, we are through one of our partnerships, we are also working with Farmdar, and what we're trying to see is through our satellite imaging or what is the current stage the crop is at, and should there be any treatment to it. So this significantly helps us identify any issues or any problems or any mistakes that the farmers may have made. This would ensure our that a returns on our investment, but b ensure that farmers are up to date about understanding what their crops require.